morning, everybody. How's it going? How are y'all today? I meant to start my video, so I'm gonna start my video right here. But then I fixed my hair a little bit, and I said, you know what? That's the bad angle. Huh? Let's go, Benju. Anyway, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Happy Friday. Anyway, I took a selfie, sorry. Did y'all watch the debate? Guess it's the end of the debate week. I watched it. I watched it with my mom and Tracy. And we all got along, basically. I think those are called mountain laurels. Full bloom. Different shades of pink and white. Anyway. We watched the debate together on MSNBC. You know, I didn't have any complaints about the debate. I think the one debate or one complaint, comment card filled out was from my sister Tracy. She said she didn't like how they didn't fact check. She said they should fact check. Otherwise, you just lying like that. But I disagreed with her. I said, interesting point. They should fact check. There's no fact check community note type situation that's going on there. I said I liked how they didn't because why have a debate within a debate? Just, let's have just one debate and focus on that. I thought the questions were interesting. It seems to me that there might be a discrepancy of I think it's interesting because different people know different things. Different information is available to different people for whatever reason. And I thought it was interesting how, of course, Make America Great Again. Interesting how Biden talked about how was very patriotic, right? Which is, I think, at least from my perspective, I used to listen to a lot of progressive shows. So, maybe it's not from your perspective, but from my perspective, it's usually the Republicans who show that patriotism, and Democrats not so much. So I thought that was interesting. As far as that dynamic there. Abortion seems to be a really big issue. And I'm not saying it's not, but it seems to be a really big issue, and there seems to be misalignment, discrepancies, not agreeing on what people's stances are, And as far as all of that goes, obviously I agree with what my husband has said and his stances on that. And as far as handing it to the states, I think interesting, and I think it's interesting if you're going to go as far as availability. He said Texas and Florida are different, and so I'm just wondering, or I'm going to be on the lookout for any sort of if there's going to be a conservative stance on it, if there's any sort of requirement that both parties involved have to be aware and responsible, and stuff like that, and where that's going to go, especially it being considered in the public square, a conservative viewpoint. So I'm interested to see where that being conservative manifests. Will it be to extremely strict abortion laws where both parties have to know? It's the state's responsibility to make sure both parties are aware. So that's what I have to say about that issue. Banjo found a cat. I thought the questions were very interesting. There wasn't any questions about public school. I know that's usually a state issue, but I know my husband had mentioned it in his rallies before, and I know under the Obama administration there was like federal funds for public schools, so I thought it was interesting that didn't get brought up. What else? As far as the moderators, I thought they did. I don't have any complaints about that. Yeah, there was nothing to complain about. They gave the time, they asked the question, they re-asked the question, and they moved on. Which, if you think there's a better way to handle that, to have a debate like that, people are here for a debate, and if they want to have like a back and forth, obviously there's the internet for that, right? Anyway, so the patriotic thing, I thought it was very interesting dynamic there. That's my thoughts on the abortion issue. It seems to be, I can understand why that was brought up. It seems to be really, from what I see on the internet, a really big issue, and of course this the Supreme Court being involved in all that. One last thing, a comment I wanted to make about the debate was, what do y'all think the debate's going on there? Just kidding. Anyway, one last thing that I wanted to bring up was this question of, will you accept the election results? And I think it's a very interesting question, and I thought it was very interesting how it was directed towards 45. That question. I mean, as far as what we've learned throughout history, civilizations in history, sometimes people don't relinquish power. That didn't happen. January 20th, the next president was sworn in. So, I think that's a very interesting question, especially considering this mass unsolicited mail-in ballot situation, which throughout I guess modern day politics, I was watching MSNBC and they went all the way, I think, to 1948. I'm not sure about the voting then, if there's mail-in ballots, unsolicited, absentee ballots, which is interesting because of the swamp the vote that my husband's campaign has going on. So with that being said, I thought it was interesting how that question of will you accept the election results, and how it's directed towards my husband, I think is very interesting. Of course, they brought up January 6th, and I don't see a problem with that. Asking questions about that. As far as the environment, I think it's not completely inappropriate to do so. In case you're wondering my perspective on that. So, well, that kind of makes sense, because that was really weird, But anyway, so I think it's interesting that question is directed towards him, especially considering that January 20th, the new president was done. So I'm wondering, like, are they talking about they just don't want him to talk about it? They don't want him to talk about how, that's a reason why there's independents, non-voters, etc., is because, look, they're still debating. Because people have lost faith in the system, and what I mean by that is their vote doesn't mean anything, is what a lot of people think. So to not talk about that from a certain perspective, I think is maybe might be some motivations behind that urging. I'm not saying behind that question, I'm saying behind that urging of you need to accept the election results. Especially considering in recent history, Democrats and Republicans have both had their fair share of questioning the results. But anyway, we talked about stuff as far as patriotism, talking about third world stuff's happening here that happens in third world countries. I think in 2024 probably reaches a wider audience. I think when he said that, we have like a third world country, before 2024, I think maybe it was a certain, what is it called? Statistics of the population, where, let's go, Benji, 1 second. Okay. Let's go, you stop. Okay, anyway. I'm surprised nobody's here. Here I am talking about the debate yesterday. Let's go, Benji, 1 second. Sorry. Okay, here he is. So as far as saying, things are like a third world country, I think it's very interesting now. I think it might have reached maybe people with lower incomes, maybe. But as far as saying that today, I think as far probably resonates and lands with maybe people of in different, I don't know what you call, I'm trying to be politically correct here, people in different like lower class, middle class, upper class, financially speaking, power and authority speaking. So I think that that landed at probably has a wider audience now. People listening and saying, uh, thinking about that a little bit more than just, oh, we're the United States. You know, what is he talking about? Third world countries, the United States. I mean, um, what else? One second, let me get my puppy. I don't like being here, even though nobody's bothering me today. I'm getting a little uncomfortable right now. One second, let me get my puppy. Okay. Nobody's barked in other people's houses today. Oh my god. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I think there's a lot of which I think is very interesting. He didn't say Law and Order. That's usually something that he runs on. So I thought that was interesting, just to note. Um, there's certain keywords that people just like to hear, and just what is it called? Like, oh my god, one second. Okay, so I think there's certain keywords that you know, whether you're a candidate running for the president of the United States or other things, you know, there's certain keywords where, you know, you say and you have that kind of brand, I guess. So I thought it was interesting he didn't say Law and Order. What else? Oh, and as far as this, anyway, I'm trying to think about what I'm going to talk about, but I guess I'll just go with this. Is I think it's interesting. It's like it's 2024. A segue to that, and so I think it's interesting to talk about how many times somebody's been married or divorced. I think especially as a Democrat, right? One second. Okay. So I think it's interesting. I'm not sure what other profession in 2024 where it's like worried about how many times somebody's been divorced and married and all of that. But as far as bringing that up right now in this moment in time, I think again is also interesting. And I guess that's kind of maybe what separates politics a little bit is things may be unpleasant, but there might be an advantage to bringing certain things up at certain times and stuff like that. So as far as getting like judging people, and this is what so judging people, it's like it's a joke, like, oh, you like been married 3 times and stuff like that. And you know, it's 2024, especially from Democrats. I'm surprised that's still something to make note of. And for some reason, I was thinking to myself, for some reason I think that as a politician, I think they're trying to comment on a failure or a political adversary. They're trying to say how maybe their opponent failed in a certain way that they didn't, or their team didn't, whatever. Which I think is interesting to note, especially in 2024, because I don't think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think whether you're conservative or liberal, um, getting divorced is a reflection on the failure of your character. Um, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of circumstances involved, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, um, that's it's 2024. I don't see how that's something. Um, but I think as far as um, things they're pointing fingers at 45 for, um, is something that if it was just an average person, maybe not in this back alley, but they wouldn't dare do to the average person, right? Um, which I think is very interesting. Do you have that judgment or not? If you don't, why do you have it now? Um, is where my thought process goes. Um, of course, I thought 45. My husband was very strong in that answer. Um, and people making fun of it, it's, like I said, to any other average person, they probably wouldn't, right? Um, but I think it's an interesting time to bring that up. And as far as addressing things that are unpleasant, um, is not a bad thing, right? Um, so if you get really upset about all of that, I just want to say I think it's very interesting. Of course, that's going to be something the Democrats bring up. I mean, I don't say of course, but as far as like, chances are they're probably going to bring it up. And I think it's very interesting if that's something that needs to be done. Very interesting time for that, right? Sometimes you have to, what you think is a weakness could be a strength for varying circumstances, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I guess that's what I have to say about the debate. Um, I watched the commentary on MSNBC before and after. Um, and I think it's so funny how, and I'm wondering why. This is my perspective, so let me know y'all's perspective. Is I see a lot of the times, oh, he just got Trumpier. Oh, that's just how he is. Like they're like evaluating his personality. Like they know him. They say, oh, they know how he's gonna act in certain ways and why. Um, something that I've noticed that happens. It happened on MSNBC. It happens on The View. I'm like, why are you, have you evaluated him? Where are you getting this? Oh, well, this is what he's like, and stuff like that. I just think that is so interesting. Is that because has a lifetime of being a business person, a successful business person, and celebrity, public figure? Is that why they keep saying, oh, he got more Trumpier and more like himself, and this is what he's like, and stuff like that? And they don't really say that about anybody else. In this case, of course, Biden. But so let me know if y'all notice that too. I'm just like, why are you saying that? Can I fact check? Anyway, y'all have a good one. That's my thoughts on the debate recap in these 24 minutes. Um, I think I think it's one of the earlier debates. There's talking about. Oh, one more thing I wanted to add was I thought it was interesting how on MSNBC they said Pisecki was said in her little circle that people were talking about, oh, they might need another candidate. He didn't do so. Biden didn't do so well. They might need to replace him. I said, well, what was so different from tonight's performance that was so different from these past 4 years? What is it that Jen Psaki from MSNBC, her inner circle, texting and stuff. I say that just to describe. Um, so what is it that they're seeing on the debate that happened where they said, oh, they're going to need a completely new candidate? What? That was just a comment on MSNBC after the debate, post-debate. So I didn't see anything that was so different. So I wonder what's changed their minds. I guess this is another thing, just one last thing I want to add. I think it's good they did a debate. I think it's my husband, can be extremely focused, and he's a very serious person. And so I think that came across really well. And yeah, I guess that's that. So my 2 cents on thoughts on the debate for debate week. So let me know what y'all think. Feel free to discuss or not, whatever. And I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one.